morning. I'm Haley. We have met before.
Long time ago.
Long time ago, and it's great
Yeah,
to reconnect. I'm very excited to chat with you today.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, Jeffrey, can you tell me about your role with Harambe?
My role with Harambe, I am the executive director for Harambe. I've been with Harambe almost 20 years now. I started out as a crew leader, summer crew leader. From there, I was a summer supervisor. I was assistant executive director for several years. And then in 2018, our organization split. We have a LLC, which is a professional tuck pointing company. When that split, that's the executive director of Harambe became an owner of the LLC, and that opened up the position for me to become executive director. I've been executive director since March of 2018.
Can you give me a little bit of a description of what Harambe is, your mission, what you do?
Absolutely. Harambe is a youth training organization, and we work with at-risk youth ages 12 to 18. And we teach them a masonry skill, which is tuck pointing. Okay, and tuck pointing is repairing the brick, the mortar on a brick building. Okay, and we, like I said, we work with the at-risk youth. Our main clients are low-income homeowners in the city of St. Louis. If they meet our low-income requirement, which is less than 80% of the AMI, then they can apply for a free tuck pointing job. Okay, and we give them that free tuck pointing job. Most of our clients are, like I say, widows, older individuals whose homes are in need of repair. So this is where we come in. We come in and we do the repair for them. Okay, our mission and our vision is twofold. We give them one of our mission, like I say, is twofold. We want to give them a skill, a job skill, a job training. Many of our kids are not going to go to college. Okay. We would love for them to go to college, but it's just a fact that not all kids are equipped for college. So we want to prepare our kids give them a skill, a training that they could have. Okay, so that's our first one of our first mission is to give them that job skill. The second part of our mission and our vision is we are a biblically based organization, so we want to bring our kids up and disciple them in the gospel of Jesus Christ. So, yeah.
I have a lot of questions for you. So,
Okay.
one, how did Harambe settle on tuck pointing? That seems like a very specific skill to be teaching.
Very good question too. When we started out, we tried all type of skill. We did some grass cutting. We did painting. We did roofing. We tried different skill sets. But if you know about the city of St. Louis, the city of St. Louis has a lot of brick buildings. Okay, it's a predominantly brick town, and what we found out was that the neighborhoods where we first started out in, which is Ward 22 and Ward 26, there were a lot of homes that were in disrepair. Okay, and these our homeowners, they were in danger of losing their insurance, because if their home is not in repair, they can't get their homes insured. Okay, in order to get their homes insured, they had to have this tuck pointing done. Okay, your average tuck pointing job is probably, depending on the size of your home, is probably anywhere from $20,000 up. Let's say, $20,000 and up, depending on the size of your home, depending on the decay, how much repair needs to be done. Well, a couple of the aldermen in the city of St. Louis said, hey, why don't if we put some money up, and have you guys, as a project, to repair these homes in our ward, and that's kind of where Harambe took off from. The kids many of the kids live in this, in this neighborhood around where our office is. And so it became this thing that, the kids were looking for something to do. If you ask these Harambe kids, they say, if you went with Harambe, what would you be doing? And many of them say, they'd probably be out, gang banging, selling drugs, whatever, it's just, it's just the nature of the community, the neighborhood that we live in. Another reason was, part of the gang mentality is, they attract these kids feel protected by the gangs because the gangs pay a lot of attention to them. We want to offer the kids an alternative, to some, to being involved in the gang. Harambe to a lot of these kids is just like home. Okay, and you like to say we start them at age 12. Okay, and it's a 6-year kind of apprenticeship program where we try to keep them until they're age 18, till they graduate high school. Of course, we love for them to go to college, but when they graduate high school, if they have excelled and they want to do this tuck pointing type work, we do have a professional tuck pointing company that they can go to. So they go through our program for 6 years, an apprenticeship program, and then they can go out and make real wage working for our professional tuck pointing company.
Does tuck pointing require a lot of tools?
Yes, it does. Tuck pointing is a very, like you say, a very defined skill. We have, that's when we start the kids, we have 3 different stages of kids. 12 and 13-year-olds, we call those kids track 1s. And we just teach them basically how to keep how to clean up a job site, how to mix the mortar, okay? Where they actually start getting into the tools is at ages 14 and 15. We call those track 2. We teach them what a hawk is. We teach them what a joiner is. We start to introduce them to the tuck pointing tools, and then 16 through 18, those are our track 3s. They do the heavy lifting. They use the rake. They use a grinder, an electric tool that grinds the mortar out. So it's a kind of a 3-stage process where you spend 2 years at age, 2 years as a track 1 where you're learning about, job sites and, and the masonry skill. Track 2s is when we start to introduce them to how to make a mortar pancake and how to put the mortar in the wall. Track 3 becomes, that's where you're doing the really grinding out the heavy work. That's when you're going, 3 stories high on scaffolding, that sort of thing.
Cool. Jeffrey, you said you got started with Harambe as a crew leader. What is that?
As a crew, okay, we have, good question too. We have we have a summer program, which is an 8-week program in the months of June and July. It's 8 hours a day. It's an 8-week program where we go out to the neighborhoods every day. We take 5 crew. We typically, in a non-COVID summer, we work with them anywhere from 75 to 100 kids. Okay, and we have crews, 5 crews of say 15 or more kids. Okay, each crew has 3 crew leaders. It has a head crew leader, it has a assistant crew leader, and it has a junior crew leader. So I started out as a head crew leader. When I started out, when I was working at Forsyth School when I became involved with Harambe. And of course, being a school teacher, I had the summers off. So that's when I became introduced to Harambe. And during the summers, I would come, once I left school for the summer, I would work for Harambe, for that summer. So I started out as a crew leader. Okay, so I did that for 2 years. Then I became a disciplinary supervisor. I did that for several years, okay, before I, became, and I eventually left Forsyth and became the assistant executive director full-time. So, yeah.
For the kids who are in the program, you said a lot of them are from the neighborhood, so they kind of find out because people are doing this work in the neighborhood and they see it. Mm-hmm. How else do kids come to the program?
Okay, we have a application process that starts in January after the new year. We typically have a backlog of anywhere from 150 to 200 kids, because we try to, once you become a part of Harambe, we try to keep them until they graduate high school. Now, not every kid that joins Harambe makes it through that full process, but the majority of a lot of them do. We have a 98% graduation rate of our kids that come to Harambe. 98% of them graduate from high school. So once they get in that position, and that position becomes available for them, there's very little opportunity to become a part of Harambe, except at the age of 12 and 13, because that's where the you get introduced to them. By the time you get to be 15, 16, those kids have been in the program, 4 to 6 years, and they stick it out from there. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible to get in at, 15, 16, but the number of slots at that age are very, very limited.
So what is the kind of biggest limiting factor for that? Is it the number of people you have to teach the kids, or is it the physical space where you have to teach them?
A lot of that, just where we're, our location, our physical space, we're maxed out on the physical space. The other thing is that now we have a master masonry person on our staff who's been with us for since the beginning, and they teach, they're able to teach. But we do, it's just the number of kids that become interested in Harambe. We just don't have the funding, the physical space, all that. Each crew that I talk about has a 15-passenger van. Each crew has a trailer that they have to, that they take, and all the tools and equipments and everything else that's involved with, teaching these kids how to do this tuck pointing job, and it becomes, it becomes an expensive endeavor, in order to make this happen year in and year out.
Yeah, that's a long time, a lot of moving parts to kind of make sure that can happen, especially to sustain those kids the whole time, the 6-year program.
Yeah, and then we have, and I know we have in addition to the summer program, we have two 12-week after-school programs. So we have a fall-winter after-school program that runs from, say, August or September to the first part of December. Okay, then we start that program back up the end of January, and that will run till about April. So
if a kid joins at age 12, they're doing all of these programs? So it's like the full year?
They can. Now, with the after-school program, we have to be a little bit more flexible, because particularly with the older kids, because when the older kids get to high school, you got the boys that are in athletics, you got the girls that are in cheerleading, you got the girls that are in athletics, so it just, and it depends on, some of the boys play football, so during football season, they're not available, but they do, if they're available during other seasons, so it's just kind of flexible how we have to run the program. Now, then the after-school program, it's a smaller amount of kids than in the summer program. Like I said, in the typical summer program, we minister to about 75 to 100 kids. Typically in the after-school program, it's about 30 to 40 kids, and it's exactly what it sounds like. They come after school, they work from, say, 3:30 to 7 o'clock, then, and then in each one of those tracks that I was talking about, they're given an educational stipend, because in addition to our tuck pointing work, which is we call volunteer work, in order to be stipend, they take a basic life skills class, and that runs the gamut. It could be, how to balance a checkbook, how to prepare for college, conflict resolution, sexuality. It's the whole gamut of so it's an all-encompassing program. And in order for them to, like I say, to receive that stipend, they have to attend the basic life skill classes because of their age, we aren't able to pay them, because labor laws and everything, won't let us pay them. That's why we give them an educational stipend, and the stipend is based on your age. The 12 and 13, the 12 and 13-year-olds, we call them track ones. They take one basic life skill class a week. The track twos take 2 basic life skill class a week. The track threes take 3 life skill class a week. So that's how the differentiation in, how they are stipend.
I can imagine it's probably pretty impactful for the kids to see that their work and their input is directly translating to like a financial benefit, and having this, I can imagine that is a huge motivator.
And in addition to, and not only that, Haley, but I mean, these kids, they take ownership of this work that they're doing. There's not a kid that hasn't come through Harambe that, as they, because many of these kids, like I say, live in this neighborhood. They drive down the street and they say, hey, I worked on that house right there. I mean, even as a crew leader, I can remember the very first house I worked on.
Wow.
It's at the corner of Page and I guess that's Page and Goodfellow. Yeah. So I mean, it's very, like I said, an all-encompassing program because, like I said, it gets the kids off the street. It gives them a skill. There is the financial component to it, and like I said, many of these kids are at risk. These kids, they need that stipend. They want that stipend. Many of these kids having to buy, school clothes or school shoes or what, you just name it. And it is not like, it's that they take it very serious,
Yeah.
to be a part of this. Now, there is a discipline aspect to it. We had like the old soccer, red card, yellow card. Kind of, yellow card being, okay, this is a warning, you're stepping out of line. Let's pull it together. 2 yellow cards equals a red card. A red card is that you're suspended for a day. You go home, think about what you did. You're going to miss your stipend for that day. 3 red cards over a summer or 3 red cards over a semester in the after school program means that you're suspended from the program for that particular period. There's never been a kid that has done something so grievous that they weren't allowed to come back. So it kind of helps explain to how that backlog in kids trying to get in the program, how it kind of backs up. Yeah.
I'm sure some of these kids have siblings at home. Are there a lot of like family groups that are in the program?
Exactly. Family groups, cousins, because that's how it happens. One of the kids gets joins, and okay, my cousin wants to join, and so and as much as we can, we try to accommodate, because it is we work along, not only is it just the kids being a part of this program, but we emphasize that we walk alongside the families. We do. I had an example as one of the guys and he's graduated now, he's a lot older. He joined the program and he, was cutting up in school, wouldn't do what his teacher said. So as his mom said, I want to talk to those, I'm going to come down there and talk to those people at Harambe. And he was like, well, okay, talk to him, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And his mother brought him down here, and we sat him down. And I said, hey, listen, you know what? This is all we expect you to, respect your mother, respect your sisters, your brothers, help your mom out. This guy was from a single parent. The mom was the only parent. He had 2 sisters. It was just like, so we try to get them to understand, we are not just here to provide you, with per se a job and, or money, we walk alongside, we want the biblical prospect of it, or is that we want you to understand, not only dignity of work, but what it means to be a family. What does a family look like? Because 75% of our kids come from, the inner city, and then, and then we do have 25% of the kids that are, some of them are churched, they're two parent, so, so these kids can see an example of what it looks like, to be a part of family, and so, yeah.
Wow. I know when I heard about the program, part of it that was explained to me is that by being kind of church-based, it's a lot easier for more people to access it, right? Because a church is in every neighborhood. It's easy. You can walk to the church. You can get connected that way.
Right. And like I said, many of our neighborhood, the people, our homeowners whose houses that we worked on, they're church based, but like I say, they're, widowed, low income, and we work as a service, to serve the community. And that's and that's another part of what we're trying to show the kids is, it's not always about, what's in it for me, how do I reach out and help somebody else?
Mm-hmm. It takes everyone to kind of make the community better and more prosperous. And
Exactly.
well, I love that. That's a really awesome story, and I hope that I can come out and see some of the buildings that you all have worked on.
Absolutely, we'd be glad. Now our after school program, because it's the winter. See, here's how it works. We work out. The tuck point is basically an outside work. Now, when it gets cold, excuse me, like in November, when the time changes, we can't work outside. What we do is we do the basements, inside basements of homes, in the city.
Okay.
But yeah, but we would love to have you come out. Now I tell you, these guys out there, they're gonna put a hard hat on you, and they're gonna they're gonna give you some safety glasses.
Good, safety first.
They might say, hey, let's go up here up on the top of the scaffolding. So that's always a story. One of used to be our Restore St. Louis director. When he first came along, he said that I took him up to the top of the scaffolding and left him up there. So, I said, well, it's.
That's great. I mean, also learning just like that skill, I'm gonna have to look for your tuck pointing company. Is Harambe Tuck Pointing the company all graduates from the program?
I would say 90% of them are, but because they have, like I said, we used to be two divisions. We used to be the youth training division, and then that division was called the professional division.
Okay.
So, and when they were the professional division, they were 100% graduates of the program. Now that they have moved on to what they call an LLC, it's called Harambe LLC.
Okay.
So Harambe LLC and Harambe Youth Training Corporation are two separate, organizations.
Okay.
Even though we do have the same name, and we're birthed out of the same place. We are two separate organizations. That's since they become Harambe LLC, of course, they're open to, anybody that applies, that has tuck pointing skills. So,
and then I'm sure they do projects kind of all over the city.
All over the city. See, and that's another, because we are kind of defined to an area in the city, where, we go probably as far as Grand, and then far north as Kings Highway, West Florissant, because of our size, and we have to consider travel, because like on a particular night, even during the summer, it's we defeat ourselves if we're going 30 minutes just to get in one direction.
Right.
Because you got 30 minutes there, you got 30 minutes back, and even during a non-COVID summer, they come back for lunch. Now this past summer, which was our first COVID summer, everything was transported out to the job sites, and then but then on the other hand that we had less kids because we had to keep them socially distanced in the van. We couldn't
Yeah.
we couldn't travel with a van full of kids. They had to be only seating a certain set. So that was a big adjustment. Now hopefully I don't know what this summer will bring. We're still kind of holding on, maybe with vaccine and some of these other things, these rollouts that are happening, we get back close to our typical summer. But even still, we learned best practices from this past summer that even to go forward in a non-COVID summer, that, how we, better utilize our time and our effort and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So it seems like your model is very effective. There's a huge waiting list, right? The participation and graduation rates are great. What are the most impactful ways that people can help you to kind of grow and to keep this up?
Oh, that's a good question. Being biblically based, and my using my first answer to that being since we're biblically based is, to be praying for us, pray for our pray for our kids, pray for our homeowners, we're always looking for different ways to expand the organization. What we found out over the years is that a lot of, different places want us to bring the Harambe program and do it for them. What we would like to do is for organizations to look at our model and say, God, this works, this works, this works, and then take that model, and duplicate it, in other parts of the city, maybe say South City, or real way north, North City. So that's the biggest thing, that others can see our model, duplicate it, and start reaching kids in communities that we can't reach, or either kids that, like I said, we got 150 kids on our waiting list, even if, to come alongside and start a similar organization that we can reach some of these kids in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for chatting today. I got a lot to think about and a lot to share, I think, and direct people to doing exactly that to kind of help out.
And we're always, Haley, we're always available to come out, talk to, if you have organizations that are interested or want to know how we do what we do and what it is that we do, always available to come out and share, whether that's, we can make arrangements, anytime, days and stuff. So, always available. That mostly falls on me, because I have a small staff. I've got I've got a program manager, and I've got a training and safety and training person. One of the things that I'm actually thinking about this coming up in 2021 is to add an administrative type person, that could come along and help me with some of the funding, with some of the newsletters, with thank you notes, that sort of thing, because I have this, I've got a lot.
It's piling up on the desk,
I wear a lot of, and so, yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, good. Well, I'll be in touch about coming out to see some stuff and seeing how we can be involved and just really spread this message about this program around.
I appreciate it so much.
It was lovely. Have a great rest of your day.
When I was 2, my parents had to move from Congo because there was war going on there. So we moved from Congo to Tanzania. We lived in Tanzania for 11 years. When I was 13, That's when we moved to the U.S. There wasn't a lot of soccer going on outside. Our neighbors were, we didn't speak the same language, so it was hard to communicate with the neighbors.
Can you give me that water? Put some water in it.
Before I started working here, I couldn't work with other people. I don't like other people getting involved with my stuff. Like, I just want to do everything by myself. I don't want anybody. You can't do anything by yourself. You gotta have somebody.
I learned about Harambe through my cousin, Corvina. She used to work here, and I always used to see her. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I kind of wanted to make money. When I first started Harambe, I was like, I do not know what I sell myself up for. I'm like, I cannot do this stuff. I'm too little. I can't live. I was just shocked. I've noticed since I've been working here that I do got a really, really bad temper. And I'm kind of like, I am improving. So that's good. I'm learning how to like accept and take criticism and try to work it out, you know, instead of just being mad about it and thinking people just down talking me.
It was kind of rough living over here because there's a lot of violence, people just acting crazy. I think Harambe is a helpful program because it could help teenagers stay out of trouble and help others. I like all the staff, like they treat us like family. They want us to be safe and do the right thing and follow the right path instead of just, they don't act like they just don't care about us. They just want us to come help them do the work and then leave, but they involved in our life.
If I wasn't doing Harambe, I would be at home getting fat. Tuck pointing is like, okay, this a brick and this a brick. Between bricks is mortar. We take the mortar out and we replace it with new mortar so that the brick and the house could stay formed and shaped better. Because if you walk, like if you go past a house like it's been abandoned, sometimes you may see a dent in the wall. And since people live in their houses but they can't afford to pay like the professionals to do it, we do it for them so they can live in their house longer. And when Harambe come and they help them and we work on their houses for this amount of weeks and work on their house, get their house done and do it the way it's supposed to be done, then it makes them feel like we care about them.
6 years ago, you probably wouldn't even want to be around Mark because if you say one thing bad to me, I'll flip out. If I wasn't working at Harambe, I probably would be in the streets doing I don't know what, but this is good for me. I grind, I tuck point, I grout, I lead. I'm a leader in this group. The best thing about working here is you get treated with respect. Like most jobs, like you don't even know people for real, but we know each other. We listen to each other and talk with each other, so we know each other real good and we real close.
My name is Mr. Carden.
My name is Tonisha Horby.
My name is Makisha.
My name's Shaquille Conley.
My name is Mark Allen and I work for Harambe Youth Training.